Alright, Volume 3 again. Now we're at Part 2, Story 6, Crossing the Jordan. And that's what it says. Okay? The two spies hid in the mountains west of Jericho for 3 days. 3 days. Then they made their way back across the Jordan to the camp of Israel. Joshua was waiting on them. The people were all afraid of us. Excuse me. They told him, recalling what Rahab had said. Calling his officers, Joshua told them what the spies had found and that the hour of attack had come. Then he bade them to go through the camp and tell everyone to prepare food and be ready to move for. Within 3 days ye shall pass over this Jordan. You can imagine the excitement as the people heard the news. A great moment for which they had been waiting so long had come at last. 3 more, only 3 days more, and they would be in Canaan. Next Sabbath they would spend in the land of milk and honey. It sounded too good to be true. There was just one problem: the Jordan. Being in flood, it was almost a mile wide, including the swamp land or on the other side. Pretty much like it'd be like the Mississippi, and what we are. And yeah, sometimes when it's rainy season, from this side of us, from the levee on out, it's nothing but swamp, which is true. So it kind of, if you want to have an imagination and you want to live around here, it'd be like that. Because sometimes when we go across the new bridge and it's flooding, we can see all that farmland that's all messed up with all the. That's why they have to time it right, and that's why on the old bridge that sometimes they lock the walkway down. Oh, you can walk the bridge. Walk across Mississippi here from West Memphis to Memphis. About a mile. Okay, digress. Get back to the story. How does Joshua plan to take 1,000,000 people across it? Was he going to build a bridge or boats or what? 3 days went by quickly. Everybody was happy. Eagerly food was prepared. Tents were folded and bedding was packed. Wagons were loaded, but still there was no sign of any work being done on a bridge or a boat. Word came now, went through the camp, that everyone was to watch the Levites for the signal to start. When your eyes see the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord your God and the priests the Levites bear it, said Joshua. Then ye shall move from your place and go after it. All eyes turned now toward the center of the camp, where the tabernacle had been standing for the past few weeks. It was no longer there. Already the gold-plated woodwork had been taken apart, the beautiful curtain carefully folded, and the articles of furniture reverently covered. Groups of Levites stood around waiting for orders from Joshua to pick up their precious burden and move on. And then it has a picture of them taking down the tabernacle. That's what it looks like. Them taking it down. But there was the Jordan. But still there was the Jordan, so wide and swift and deep. And yeah, our the Mississippi right here is the same way. What was Joshua going to do about the Jordan? Excuse me. Then the day before the march was to begin, he said to the people, "Sanctify thyself, yourselves, for tomorrow the Lord will do wonders among you." Now there was more. Now there was more excitement. The Lord had worked wonders for them before. What was God going to do now? The last night was a night of prayer. Fathers, mothers, boys, and girls gave themselves anew to God and asked forgiveness for their sins. They wanted to be ready when he drew near. Early the next morning, Joshua called the people together and said to them, "Climb hither and hear the words of the Lord your God." Then it paused. "Hereby ye shall know that the living God among you," pause, "behold, the ark of the covenant of the Lord of all the earth passes over before you into Jordan. And it shall come to pass, as soon as the soles of feet of the priests had bared the ark of the Lord of all the earth shall rest in the waters of the Jordan, and the waters of Jordan shall be cut up from the waters that come down from above, and they shall stand upon the heap." Basically, they're going to walk on water or walk through, um, yeah. A thrill sweeps through the waiting people. Are we going to cross the Jordan on dry land as our fathers passed through the Red Sea? They asked one another. Now I think they're going to walk on water. Can't remember, but let's get back to the story and see. Now the priests bearing the ark are moving down the slope towards the river. Everybody holds their breath. Thousands of boys and girls stand on tippy-toe to get a good view of wondering what's going to happen. Nearer and nearer came the priests to the water's edge. Still the river rolled majestically by. Nearer and nearer. Suppose nothing should happen. Will they just go on walking right into the water? Or will Joshua tell them to stop? Nearer and nearer. Just a few steps more. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Look, their feet have touched the water. That's all it says. And then you got these guys up here on the Jericho pointing at them, and they're with the ark, and they got it covered up, and they're walking in the ark. Suddenly something happened. Nobody knows what, only that the water is now 10 feet away, 20 feet, 30 feet, 100 feet. Now it seems to be dry land all the way across. To the right, to the left, there was no water, no sign of water. Somehow, somewhere, miraculously, the river had been dammed up and had ceased flowing. So, in other words, it stopped right then. And they could see it on one side and see it on the other. But, these are kids that's never seen the Red Sea before. Do that. The priests move on. At Joshua's orders, they stand still in the midst of the riverbed, the place of the greatest danger should the water begin to flow again. Seeing them there, the people began to cross. By thousands and tens of thousands, they hurried from one side to the other, driving their wagons and their cattle as fast as they could go. It was an amazing sight. The people of Jericho watched as the walls of their city are struck dumb with fear. In other words, they got scared because it just whoa, and people just started. It dried up, and people are walking through, and all they saw was these little men, this little figure goes to a certain place, and then it just dried up. Be an awesome look, though. I mean, I'm imagining it in my head. You could do it too. They had never seen anything like this, nor has anyone else. Hour after hour, the Israelis continued to cross the until the last man, the last woman, the last little boy, and the last little girl are safely on the other side. Now Joshua sends word to the priest holding the ark in the midst of the river bed to come up out of the Jordan. They came, and they were glad. They stood in the middle of it, and it dispersed. Now see it in my head. Okay. They came, and they were glad. Hardly had they reached the bank when there was a roar somewhere in the distance, and the pent-up waters came flooding over the place where they had just been standing. Everybody stares at the water in amazement. It is hard to believe. The river is full flood as before. Yet millions of people were across from one side to the other without a bridge or a boat. So this is the wonder of God's promise to perform. So this is for the new ones. It's like, whoa, dude. Okay, to make sure the people would never forget this marvelous miracle, Joshua had told 12 men, one from each tribe, to carry 12 big rocks out of the midst of the Jordan. Now he had them to pile the heap as a memorial of the great event. When your children shall ask their fathers in time to come, saying, "What means these stones?" He says, "Then ye shall let your children know, saying, Israel came over this Jordan on dry land. For the Lord your God dried up the waters of Jordan for you from before you." And then a pause, that all the people of the earth might know the hand of God, of the Lord, that it is mighty, that ye might fear the Lord your God forever. Alas, the heap of stones disappeared within years. Actually, they really found it, but an amateur archaeologist has actually found it. They're just not going to let nobody know. Alas, the heap of stones disappeared with the years. So did the memory of what God had done. But actually, if you go into the pseudoscience of Bible archaeology and stuff, you would actually find this stuff to be true. And I just get bits and pieces. And this is them laying the laying the altar, the remembrance. And that was the end of part 2, story 6. And now I'm going to give a break again. I love the breaks. But and then we'll start on the next story. And how much longer? Let me see. because I know this is divided into 3. This is through, whoa. I'm not even at part 3 yet. We still got a little bit to go until we're in part 3. But where's part 2, story 7, and we'll take a break and go back to this in just a bit.